of a certain set of structures. Self-awareness is. Now, awareness is entirely a different matter. Awareness is just pure, think of it in the Buddhist terms. I think of it in the Buddhist terms, pure, unvarnished, untarnished, pristine. The sky kind of metaphor for awareness. It's just clean, unbreakable awareness or consciousness.
Yeah, it's bare existence, or existence
Right.
revealed to be. It's existence revealed in its truest nature.
Well, if we're going to use a definition for consciousness, consciousness is the awareness of sensations, thoughts, and feelings. To put it in more of a layman's term.
That's more of a psychological definition.
Well,
I think what Steve, the implication of what Steve is saying is if consciousness is bare existence goes much deeper than just thoughts and feelings, and it's actually like an ontological category of its own. Bare existence, you called it, Steve. And that goes even deeper than just awareness of thoughts, feelings, and emotions and sensations.
Yeah.
It's closest to sensation, though. But but self-awareness is down the road and from there, in terms of, or up the road, you might say. It's a complex form of thoughts and feelings and sensations of its own.
So then what I'm hearing is that in development of consciousness, which includes awareness to a greater organization of self-awareness, so having that self-reflective capacity, that then gets cultivated over time through the development of the personality. Is that what I'm hearing you're saying?
Yeah, I would say that self-awareness as a form of consciousness is one of the climaxes of the development of the personality. Yes.
One of the climaxes, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so it's in an unpotentiated or unpotentiated form when we're born, in the sense of we don't have that self-awareness capacity at that moment. So it has the potential within the consciousness that we are born with, say, for example. So we'll get to prior to that consciousness in the womb or beyond a little later. But the idea that, okay, here we have we're born with this is what I'm hearing you saying, is that we're born with a certain level of consciousness.
We're certainly born with it. We don't know, at birth we don't know our name, we don't speak a language, we don't have a personal history, but we feel pain, we feel hunger, we may feel fear, and those things are all associated with our awareness. So I would say our awareness, consciousness being defined as awareness of some sort or another. So that awareness starts before birth at some point. But the question is, when before birth does it start? Or was it there before the conception even?
Well, just to backtrack for just a minute, so I totally lost what I was going to say. So what it sounds like to me, see, I guess the challenge for me is when we're born, we have these particular reflexive capacities, right? These are just like the biological imperative. And is that consciousness or that aspect of awareness? Because, if we're having, the suckling reflex because of eating, we're going to eat. Now, is that awareness? Or is, how do you see the biological imperative of, these certain capacities that we're born with, and is that consciousness? So I guess what I'm trying to get at is it seems to me like the role of consciousness and the role of awareness sound like, to me, they're two different things in what we're talking about here right now.
I'm not, what are the two different components of, how are they different?
Well, for me, consciousness, it's like when you're talking about, yes, okay, so babies cry, babies get scared, they're hungry. Is that part of consciousness?
I would say those sensations certainly are experienced by them in their consciousness, in their awareness. They're aware of those sensations at some level.
Okay, so so they're aware that they're hungry. So is that, I guess, is that having awareness? Because if it's a reflex,
you can have a reflex and still be aware of the reflex. In other words, you can, if I tap my knee below my kneecap, my leg will kick, and that's not consciousness, but I'm aware of my leg kicking, and that is consciousness.
So what I'm
that is
wondering,
in consciousness. It is in awareness.
so do you think, and see, this is what I'm saying about self-awareness. Okay, so I can be aware that when I get my knee, I get a reflex in my knee, I'm aware of my leg moving. So what I'm saying is that, is a baby aware that their leg is moving?
They're aware of a particular sensation. I doubt if they know it's their quote unquote leg or what moving means. I don't think they have. I don't think they've learned those yet. They're aware of the sensation of the movement.
Well, are they? I mean, the sense of, do they know where they are in space and time? So do they have that sense of, it's like, do they know what moving is?
No, I'm saying they don't necessarily know what moving is, but they have the sensation of moving nevertheless.
Well,
they have a sensation which consists of the firing of the particular sensory nerves associated with that movement.
Right.
And the muscles.
Yeah, so to me, is that awareness, and that's all I'm saying. Anyway, we can move on from that and just look at when you feel like, when do you think it gets consciousness? What is your take on that?
I was waiting for you. I was waiting all this time for you to give us the answer to that, Kim. I mean, you're going to hold out on us?
I'm going to hold out on you. Well, I gave you a snippet of it.
I mean, as I understood it, again, it had to do with each individual cell in the growing fetus having its own consciousness, and some of those consciousnesses unifying into a greater consciousness, which is, what you might call our personal consciousness. But I don't know at what point, you didn't say when that occurs or why it occurs when it does occur during the growth of the fetus, or if it's, but it's clearly more than just the egg, the awareness, the consciousness of the egg, or the awareness of the egg.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be at least two things, which is the egg and the fertilized egg, or maybe four cells, or 8 or 16 or 32, or it may not be the number of cells which triggers it, but it must be related to the number of cells on average.
On average.
Different people may have. You might argue, according to your point of view, that some people get the consciousness when there's 64,000 cells, and some people get it when there's 128,000 cells. But you assume on average that each person would, since we're all similar, that we get this consciousness at the development of a certain number of cells, roughly speaking. I don't actually think myself that's the way to look at it. I think that our consciousness is actually well, actually, now I don't know anymore. Thought I had the answer, but I guess I don't.
It's a tricky one.
The teachings that I trust say that the cell, that the consciousness of a person enters the cell upon fertilization, enters the body, enters consciousness. Consciousness enters this lifetime when the body has just the fertilized egg. That's enough for the soul to last in this world, to exist in this world. And And that to me makes more sense than saying that it's an emergent property of a certain number of cells, or that it starts at birth, or that it starts at 6 months or 7 months or whatever. I don't think to me it's an all or nothing thing. It's not doesn't